Alright then, cheers everyone for tuning in. Today we're changing the differential fluid on our E92 M3, or basically any other E9X M3 model. Super simple, we should knock it out in about 30 minutes. And yeah, let's dive straight into it. Alright then, all the tools and parts you will need are listed here. You might want to take a screenshot. Before we start, I wanted to discuss why I think it's really important to change the differential oil in, some reasonable interval in these cars. But if you're already set and want to see the step-by-step instruction, you can head to this timestamp. So why would you want to change the differential oil anyway? See, these cars have, like many other performance cars, what's so-called a limited slip differential, or LSD. What an LSD does, it combines the properties of an open diff, like in a normal, regular, road car, and a fully locked diff, like in a drift car. Meaning it can gradually lock itself more up, for example, when coming out of a fast corner on track, or loosen up when taking a slow turn with a tight radius, like on a parking lot. It does that via the means of friction plates inside the differential. From a performance standpoint, this is kind of genius, but it also comes with a price. Meaning mechanical stress is higher than in an ordinary differential, therefore the demand on the oil is higher too. So that's probably not a bad idea to change the oil, especially if you track the car like I do. Last thing before we dive into it is that you can use two different types of oil. Well, you can use whatever oil. I mean, send it on veggie oil if you fancy, but I would recommend the following two: BMW SAF-XJ-FM and Castrol Syntrax Limited Slip. The Castrol is just the OG BMW oil without the added friction modifier in it. The reason for the friction modifier being that some people have complained about the noise emissions from the differential, which is, it's kind of in its nature being an LSD. Nevertheless, BMW came up with this noise-reducing additive, but I'm going without the friction modifier because it's cheaper and I don't mind the noise. Furthermore, I like my friction unmodified in an environment where proper friction values are vital. Now, jokes aside, I think both are perfectly fine, and yeah, without further more ado, let's get that sauce changed then. Alright, so first step, break loose the fill plug. It's the one on top, and have your oil pan ready because there might be some, diff drip. Alright, so after removing the fill plug, you want to remove the drain plug. Alright, not too bad. So that's interesting. There's a weird kind of bicolor haze in the oil. I don't know if you can see that. But my thoughts are it's either the friction modifier, because there was the OEM BMW oil in there before, or it's the actual friction disc that that gets abrased and is now floating in there. Interesting. When everything's drained, we're ready to install the new drain plug. I'd highly recommend to replace those because they have a rubber gasket that could potentially fail. And we're gonna torque it to 60 Newton meters. Alright, so the drain plug is now back in, torqued properly. Alright, so what you want to do now is fill her up. My Castrol oil has this weird ass nipple up there. We're gonna shove that in the fill hole and fill her up until she overflows, then screw the fill plug back in. Alright, that's it. Should be enough. Alright, that's 60 Newton meters on the fill plug, and we're technically done. Alright, so that's a wrap for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I could help. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And see you next time.